Hey there, coming to you from a snowy trail this morning, and I excuse the grossness of the frozen ice in my beard and mustache. It's been about a week since I shot a video last because I had to go. I flew to Florida to meet with some of the restoration folks since our condo had some damage in it from Hurricane Ian, and it took a few days for me to hear their report and wait for them to get the work done. And in the meantime, I played in a few poker tournaments and did pretty well. But also had an opportunity to drive Amanda's car back to Michigan. And that drive is so long, but I love it. I don't necessarily love going from the tropics of Florida up to the snowy region of Michigan, but I do love the change in topography. And I've made that drive so many times that I can anticipate what's coming next. It's always remarkable the shortness or lack of distance between some major cities, like between Nashville and Louisville and Chattanooga and Atlanta. As you're going, it just seems like the more you've been through it, the quicker it is and easier. But anyway, last video I said I was going to talk about kind of the reason why, like, or defining my purpose, whatever you want to call it. I spent a lot of years struggling. In fact, I could point to probably my middle 20s, the first time that I realized it, but of really understanding what it was that would make me happy, you know, what it was that would deliver success, or what happiness would look like and all that stuff. And I remember I think 24 years old. I was in a network marketing company, kind of a startup, but had really good opportunity. And within 90 days, I had built a pretty significant business. I had about 2,500 distributors underneath me, and we did this all by phone because we didn't have the internet back in those days. But I remember driving to my P.O. box where I had all my mail go, and picking up my mail, getting in the car, and I had my check in there, and I opened it up and looked at it, and it was a lot of money. It was very significant, especially at 24 years old. I never had expected to achieve that level of income. But I remember I looked at it, I tossed it over in the passenger seat, and then continued to drive. And I remember looking in the rearview mirror, and I saw like my furrowed brow. And I was thinking to myself, what in the world? Like, you just got this check from the work that you've been doing, and you're not even happy. And literally at that moment, it's so significant because I honestly felt like I was flawed. Because everything I had learned as I was growing up was that, you know, you had to go work hard, and then you would receive money, and then you'd have happiness. In fact, every time I saw, you know, the person in the nice suit opening up the door to their BMW and climbing in, I always was like, man, that is I am going to be so happy when that starts to happen in my life. And so, I mean, I don't feel like it was wrong. It was just kind of the messaging that I had always picked up from other people and through stuff I was learning and stuff like that. But then all of a sudden, when you start to move in that direction and realize that along with it didn't come happiness, it was kind of a conundrum, and I didn't really know what to do. I mean, I knew I was competitive. I've always been like wickedly competitive, and I want to win. So I knew that. I knew winning was important, but I kind of struggled. And there were other things that I started throughout the course of the next, 20 years from that moment, or 30 years from that moment, where I would get started and then kind of fizzle out and lose gas because I felt like I was trying to figure it out. What was it that made me happy? And probably I would say the biggest event that helped me discover that was at my daughter and son-in-law's wedding, Caitlin and Austin, when I had to give the toast for the father of the bride. And I struggle with that stuff because I want to be thoughtful and I want to come up with something meaningful to say, but I really do not like to get stuck in over editing and planning and all that stuff. And so honestly, I was just thinking about things that I wanted them to know, you know, as they embarked in their marriage. And what came to me that morning was, as I was thinking about my whole life, was I just want them to live life. And I want them to intentionally, like, go out there and create meaningful experiences and memorable experiences, because those don't get taken away. And there are going to be times in life where it's shitty, where, you know, you're going to be facing a lot of different challenges. But you can always go back and recall those memories, and they'll help you get through those dark spots. Because we all know, being married, you say it, for better or for worse. So you know you're going to have good times, but you're also going to have bad times, and sometimes they're going to be really dark. But if you have those good memories to cling to, they can help you get through it. And not only that, but when you have those memories, you know, money is fleeting, that goes away, but experiences last. So very, very significant. As I reflected on those words after I shared them with them, I started to move a little bit closer to my why. And in fact, I think I got almost all the way there. But that was August of 2020, so it was quite some time ago. And but I think I really finally firmly cemented it in toward the tail end of 2022, and it was exciting. But what my why is I'm going to live life and intentionally create memorable experiences with people that I love and care for. And I want to share those experiences with other people so that it might motivate them to do something that they didn't think they could do, or it might inspire them to finally tackle something that they want to, or even more importantly, mitigate pain that I went through over my lifetime. I mean, I honestly look at this as I lived the first 50 years of my life to try to understand what was important and what would lead to happiness. And I made a lot of missteps along the way. So what I want to do now for the next 50 years of my life, or 50 plus years of my life, is share those experiences, share those missteps. And I start thinking about sharing those with other people in the world, and it gets me excited. But then I go back to thinking about sharing those with my kids. You know, I'm 53 years old, just turned 53. My dad passed away when he was 55. And I can still faintly recall his voice in my head. And there wasn't all this digital technology, all these cameras, and so we don't have a lot of that. But I know that there's lots of questions I'd like to ask my dad. There's lots of advice I'd like to go to him for. And I can't do that anymore. I can think, and I can actually kind of go back to conversations with him and try to figure out what he would say. But I thought, how silly that I wouldn't share this stuff and capture this stuff for at least my kids and maybe my grandkids, because the people I would like to save from the most pain and missteps and all that stuff would be my kids, and that gets me excited. So that is my why, and these videos are going to be a deep dive into what I think about things, experiences I've had, and I hope that they really resonate, not only with you kids, but also with people in the same time frame, 40, 50 years plus. Like, we've been through a lot of experiences. We've figured a lot of stuff out. We've really identified the bullshit rules that we've lived by. Why not start to capture and share our learnings with the people that we care most about, and open up and let them know about how we feel about certain things? But that's exciting to me. That's what I'm going to be doing. There are certainly a lot of obstacles that are going to pop up, just like anything. Tomorrow I'll talk about some of those, but I'm not just going to talk about the obstacles, because, you know, if you're always talking about the obstacles, you're going to hit them. So what I want to do is talk about the obstacles, as well as some rules that I've put in place for myself to follow, self-created rules, which I like, and how I'm going to mitigate some of those obstacles, or all of those obstacles along the way, as I share my deepest, darkest thoughts with all of y'all, and most specifically Matt, Caitlin, Taylor, Alexa, Oliver, and even Amanda. But she teaches me more than I could ever teach her. Anyway, that's it. I am going to continue to hike along here, put my glove back on because my fingers are freezing off, and I'll continue to live my life a brand new way. Thanks.